President John Dramani Mahama is urging his appointees to be more modest in their dealings and desist from the display of arrogance. He says too much talk of arrogance among some of his appointees is not helping the cause of good governance. He made his comments at the Flagstaff House this morning during the swearing-in ceremony of some new appointees.
The positions that we are giving are not our property, and we serve at the pleasure of the people of Ghana. Just as you've been appointed today, tomorrow you could be removed or shifted elsewhere. And you should always remember when that happens that the office belongs to the people of Ghana and not to us. Today is an opportunity for you to showcase what you can do and contribute to the agenda for transformation in this country. It's your opportunity to contribute to the process of uplifting the quality of life of our people and growing our economy. Just as we've been changing the face of our administration by reshuffling ministers from time to time, or those within the political class, we also identify the need to rigorously review the management of our state-owned enterprises, because these directly impact the people. We need to bring greater efficiency into these institutions, which interface directly with our citizens. Let me on this occasion remind you that humility and modesty are an important hallmark of social democratic governments. Too many people have complained of arrogance in some of our appointees, and we need to remember that we serve at the pleasure of our people, and that's why we're called public servants. Let me congratulate you once again and welcome you to the team. I expect that after this swearing in, you will go directly to your offices and begin work today.
Meanwhile, the president is expected to commission the Eastern Corridor fiber optic broadband project in the Volta regional capital, Ho. The 680-kilometer fiber optic broadband backbone infrastructure, well, the project will stretch from Ho in the Volta region to Boko in the Upper East region. The 38 million euro project being undertaken by Alcatel Lucent of Denmark will also branch off from Yendi into Tamale to complete the backbone loop of the country. Joining us on the line now is Joy News correspondent Mauli Yewagbe, who is currently in the Volta region. So, Mauli, has the president arrived yet?
Yeah, the president, I learned, is already in town. We're yet to get to the event ground where he will commission the fiber optic backbone project.
What are we expecting?
Yeah, this is a project that's stretching over 600 kilometers from Ho here to Boku in the Upper East region. I'm told that it's expected to help bridge the digital divide between the rural and urban Ghana, which is to mean that data services will be enhanced across the country with this particular project. It is also to support the development of the national e-government project, which is already underway. It's supposed to link all districts to the presidency, and that is also a component of this particular project. It's being handled by Alcatel Lucent, who is an innovator in the field of networking and communication technology. It's a project costing $38 million, which is being funded by the government of Denmark. And at the moment, there's a lot of excitement at the background here, and a lot of people are cooking here. The whole of government is here, a lot of ministers, and government machinery is all. The whole of government machinery is in all, awaiting the president coming for the commissioning of this project.
Okay, Mauli, thank you very much for your time on News Today. Mauli Yewagbe, Volta regional correspondent. Still watching News Today here on Joy News Multi TV. We're taking a break here. We'll be back shortly with some more. Stay with us.
But the creativity went up a notch at the Dumsa Must Stop Vigil. From clothing to placards, art installations to reenactments. The vigil that was supposed to be a quiet march turned into a fervent protest with creative songs and rhymes. All to vent the frustration of the populace with the protracted crisis.
We want to express our concern to John Mahama that the doomsaw is killing us. It's killing our businesses. Our children cannot learn at home, and we are suffering.
This university student turned into a traditional doomsaw medicine man for the night.
My name is Malam Doomsaw. When I was a pastor, yes, because of the doomsaw, I turned to Malam by force.
The doomsaw must stop vigil may be over. The protest may be over, but the colors and creativity leave indelible marks on the minds of many who participated or had opportunity to watch. Ifo Accra Harrison, Joy News, Accra.
Meanwhile, a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Ali Seidu, says last Saturday's vigil sends a resounding message to government to fix the power crisis or risk losing power.
The number of people that turned out was so amazing. And government itself had admitted in the past that this is a challenge it is trying to address. But I think what happened on Saturday was just to put government on its toes, to let government know that apparently we are suffering more than you think we are suffering. And what you are doing, we appreciate it, but we want you to do better than what you are doing. So I think any person who denies the impact of what happened on Sunday is just living an illusionary life. If you say you're going to do something, and somebody, let's just look at what happened as an encouragement, sort of something you're trying to encourage government to do better than what it's doing. Most of the visions that have been outlined going forward are all permanent in nature, like they are long-term in nature. So what the people are saying is that if this is what you actually do.
Power has been restored to Volta Star Textiles Limited. The factory was closed down in April due to its indebtedness to ECG up to the tune of 1,904 Ghana cedis. Member of Parliament for the area, Samuel Kujeto-Ablakwa, who made this happen, described the indebtedness as unfortunate and promised the workers uninterrupted supply of electricity. Meanwhile, workers at the Volta Star Textile Limited are, however, demanding the payment of their 5-month arrears before resuming work. We'll be touching base with our correspondent on the ground, Latif Idris, for much more on this particular story subsequently. Well, time now for us to check out the very latest in the world of business right after this. Let's do business now. And management of the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, is asking government to expedite action on plans for the bank to list on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Managing Director Stephen Poji, in a stakeholder meeting with farmers, said the bank desperately needs cash. In addition, the bank says support for farmers will improve if it lists on the stock exchange. The meeting is in response to government's call for a wider consultation with workers on the matter. My colleague Etonam Say is there and joins us live over the telephone now. So, Etonam, what more can you tell us on this particular issue? What has transpired in this meeting?
All right, Henry, I'm sure you know one of the three major reasons why ADB wants to list on the stock exchanges to maximize profits, raise capital, and improve audit operations. Now, that is what they've been explaining to the farmers. What it is that, I mean, after the Unicorn demonstration, government asked ADB to have a wider consultation with the labor union so that they understand why they want to list on the stock exchange. And so this is one of the meetings they've been having with the stakeholders. And so they met with farmers today, and they also explained to them that what a benefit from the bank is going to increase greatly if they list on the stock exchange, because they are going to have a lot of people investing into the bank. They also said they are going to open more branches. As it stands, ADB has 78 branches nationwide, and they said that what is sad is that they don't even have a lot of the banks in the districts where we have a lot of farming going on, and they feel that if they list on the stock exchange, they will have a lot of money, and then they will be able to open branches to assist the farmers. So that is what is happening here right now. And I also spoke to some of the farmers. I actually spoke to the technical director of the Farmers Association, and he said that they are up for it. They want ADB to list on the stock market because what it is that they don't have enough funding when it comes to their farming activities. they need a lot of cash. And ADB is also saying that they are desperate in need of cash, and so the government will expedite action so that they can list on the stock market.
Etonam, thank you very much for that update. Etonam Say is my colleague right here with the business desk. Now, Ifidiasia Sokore is one of the palm oil producing towns in the Ashanti region with the potential to generate wealth to boost the local economy. However, players in the industry, mostly women, are confronted with challenges analysts say are preventable. Inadequate supply of palm fruits and high cost of transportation are few of the challenges. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin was in the town and filed this report.
At Ifidiase Asokore in the Ashanti region, operating a palm oil mill is a booming business, and women are making a lot despite the toil. The establishment of the Palm Oil Mill Center by the French government in 1994 provided a boost to the local oil palm production. The local industry produces between 8 and 10 tons of palm oil every day. A ton is sold at 500 Ghana cedis. The level of poverty and unemployment among women has reduced, providing a lifeline for their children's education.
Since we began this business, some of us have been able to build houses and take care of our children. I have been able to see my son through the university, and my granddaughter is now in the nursing training with the money I make from here.
Local women have sustained and managed the center, which is attracting more people into the business. Despite the good prospects, the industry is faced with some challenges.
Whenever it rains, this place is flooded because the waterway has been blocked. We have to make contributions to fix whatever gets destroyed. That is the major problem we face here.
The production process begins with the collection of freshly harvested palm fruits. Each bunch weighs averagely 40 kilograms, but inadequate supply of palm fruits is threatening to erode the gains made so far. The center started with 200 people, but the number has dropped to 25.
You can buy a truck full load of the palm fruit for 600 cedis and pay 300 cedis for transportation alone. Because of this, we are not making enough profit from the business. That is why many people are leaving this business.
Some children, however, find palm oil extraction a stepping stone to achieving their ambition. 13-year-old Kwame is a shy-looking guy. His desire to further his education after junior high school has landed him here. He says he has already saved 300 Ghana cedis.
I save some of the money and use the rest for my daily needs.
Like Kwame, several more children are here to make money for various purposes.
Now, power has been restored to Volta Star Textiles Limited. The factory was closed down in April due to its indebtedness to ECG up to the tune of 1,904 Ghana cedis. Member of Parliament for the area, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, who made this happen, described the indebtedness as unfortunate and promised the workers uninterrupted supply of electricity. Workers at Volta Star Textile Limited are, however, demanding the payment of their 5-month salary arrears before resuming work. My colleague Latif Idris is currently with the Member of Parliament at Japan. He joins us now over the telephone. So, Latif, what's this visit about in the first place?
Yeah, you remember very well that last week we did a story here about the fact that Japan Textiles Limited, now Volta Star Textiles Limited, had asked 1,400 of its workers to go home simply because the factory owes ECG. Now, when according to Okudzeto, he saw the story and he was shocked because he didn't know exactly what was going on here. So today his visit here is to carry forward what he had started last week. He said he met with the top executives of ECG. Now they've ironed out the differences. So now power has been restored back to the Volta Star Textiles Limited.
Okay, so Latif, if you say they've ironed out the differences, does that mean the debts have been settled, or there's been some sort of intervention for a payment plan?
Yes, that's the question I asked the Deputy Minister of Education, whether they paid some amount to ECG. And he told me that no, they've not made any payment. What they've done is that they've sat down with ECG and they've set out modalities as to how to go by settling the debt that the factory owes ECG.
Okay, so as it stands now, they still owe, just that there's been some sort of compromise. Yes,
they owe ECG up to the tune of 1,904,000 Ghana cedis. And this is huge amount of money, and one wonder how the factory is going to pay off this debt.
Okay.
Now, workers here, as you know, have also not been paid for the past 6 months. That is for senior staff, and junior staff have also not been paid for the past 5 months.
Latif, let me ask. Have you been able to verify whether or not power has been restored?
Yeah, power has been restored.
Okay.
Before we got here, there was no power.
All right.
But after 10 minutes, then we saw that the fans, everything started working, and so we got the confirmation that indeed power had been restored.
So has production commenced in any way?
Yeah, production and work will start tomorrow. But when the announcement was made that workers should resume work tomorrow, they sounded a bit unhappy because they said management continued to promise them that their arrears would be settled, but they don't see it happening. So they want management to pay them the 5 and then 6 months arrears before they resume work tomorrow. But speaking with them, management has been able to convince them, and so even though they are not happy with the situation, they say that they will resume work tomorrow. But then there is a caveat to that. If they start work and by the end of next week they don't get their salary arrears paid, they will embark on yet another strike.
Thank you very much, Latif Idris. Latif Idris is my colleague right here at Joy News. We're taking a quick break here. We'll come back with a lot more. Stay with us. Many childhood cancers are treatable, but many parents do not know this or do not see the signs early enough to present the children to the hospital to be attended to. Now, on the average, the Children's Eye Care Unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital records numerous childhood cancers coming in late. In most cases, there's little experts can do to help. Now, in the following report, Martha Krentilako tells the story of Nathaniel Papato, who is one of the success stories of the unit.
Every day, hundreds of parents come here with their children, some as young as weeks old, with the hope of getting solution to their eye problems. But not all of them survive. Most of them, especially the cancer cases, don't make it. But this case is different.
Teach them well and let them lead the way.
Hi, Papa. Hi, Papa. You're welcome.
Tell me briefly about him.
Okay, so Papa is actually one of our children who presented with cancer early in both eyes. He was then 2 weeks of age when the parents detected it, and then they brought him to us when he was 4 weeks old. It was advanced in one eye, so it was a removal of one eye, but the other eye had tiny or early form of the disease, and because we could not handle it here, we referred to South Africa. He's been there a number of occasions, and over the years, the past 3 years, he's been quite stable. And Papa turned 10 years yesterday. And he's one of our longest survivors of the condition. We have other children here. There's another child here that's left for India when he was 1.5 years old. And because he also did not, funding issue, he had to stay there for 4 years. We're looking for money, contacting people, and finally, by God's grace, in his case, it was affecting 2 eyes, but we had removed one eye in Ghana, and by God's grace, the vision in the other eye has been preserved, and he's seeing normally, going to normal school, school for normally sighted children. And we are also grateful because he also turned 5.5 years lately, and he's also around today. So we are getting survivors. There are quite a number of survivors, and we want people to know that. And they say, how do we detect this disease early? Usually there's a shiny spot that the parents will see. Sometimes it glows like the cat's eye or the dog's eye in the night. And sometimes daytime parents do not see it very well. But it may also be preceded by a deviation where if the child is looking straight ahead, one eye will be looking elsewhere when the other is looking. Sometimes that's the early form of the presentation. But when it is advancing, then we begin to see the shiny white spots. And at that stage, one needs to move quickly, because if one does not move quickly and to deal with it or to treat it, then sometimes it goes outside the eye, and then the eye becomes red and it starts protruding. When it gets to that stage, most of them, more than 80% of these children die. But it's a disease that they should not die from. And we have these success stories and many others that, by God's grace, they are surviving.
Family of Papa Ato come together to celebrate his 10th birthday. We pray and we hope that many more parents will present their children with such diseases early enough so they can get treatment and live quality life. From the Children Eye Center at Kolebu, my name is Martha Krensolakwa for Joy News.
A rather touching story there, but on that note, let's get you some sports action right now. Residents and commuters of Pokwase are appealing for the construction of their road network to ease movement of people and goods. Residents are also complaining of a lack of potable water in the community. Rosalind Sewapon was in Pokwase and has filed the following report. Now, some people like to look at art, others to buy it, but almost no one likes to overpay for art in our part of the world. The failure of successive governments to promote the fine arts industry continues to rob Ghana of the opportunity of raking in from the sector. In the following report, Joy News' Redwan Karimdini Osman visited one of Ghana's premier art schools here in Accra and tells a story of resilience in an underdeveloped sector.
On the surface, it may appear that Ghana's fine art industry has taken a nosedive. But behind the scenes, the industry radiates with vibrancy. This is a fine art exhibition organized by some students of the Ghanata College of Arts and Designs. The students' love for country, African traditions and symbolism is depicted in artworks on display.
Nowadays in our Ghanaian countries, we are cutting the trees down very much. So I decided to portray this to tell our stories that when we build out more trees, when we are cutting, we should be building more trees so that it helps our environment to grow, to make serene. We get good air, and the sun is very scorchy because we cut more trees.
Okay, I call this the basics of soccer. The reason why I took this work is I realized there was a time that I wanted to play football, but when I went to the team, I went there with just a normal foot. So the coach asked me, if you want to play football, you need your boot. So he was just communicating to me for me to know that if only you want to play football, there are certain basics you cannot forgo. you have to stick to it.
The Ganata College of Art and Designs has produced one of the lead designers for Giorgio Armani, Owusu Ankoma, and the most sought-after artist, Samuel Adukwe, who serves on the faculty of all the major academic art institutions of New York City and winner of several international awards. Yet, the institution has challenges.
There was a time the government, some of the officials came here that they wanted to close the school, and some of the students were very angry with that. They said the school was owing just 1,000 Ghana cedi.
These budding artists are hopeful Ghana's fine art industry would be able to match up to international standard, but their worry is the lack of attention by successive governments to the industry.
I think it's so hard for the artists in Ghana though, but actually we are selling. Most of the artists are selling. I think our paintings are not being patronized by normal Ghanaians. People from the outside, the art buyers and the art dealers come for them. I think it's so hard in Ghana with arts.
Lack of interest on the part of the general public is also harming the industry.
In Ghana, especially Africa, our parents, even my father told me that artists are not rich, so he will never let me do art.
Imagine the benefit of seeking, finding and developing multiple solutions to the myriad of problems facing our society today. These processes can be taught through arts.
I think measures could be put in place, art festival, art schools, more art schools, and the high schools also are not being supported most. They should be supported, so they should have more art facilities that could help them do more so that people know more about the art. Even at your age, you can even do art and sell it more.
And so the young artists are not only calling for empowerment, they are calling for infrastructure development. They are calling on government to deepen its support as far as the fine arts industry is concerned. And so with all of this, they are hoping that they would be able to take Ghana to the next level, perhaps a few years to come. Reporting for Joy News, Ridwan Karim Dini Osman.
Let's do some international news right after this break. The ECOWAS Mediation and Security Council is encouraging 3 countries preparing to go to the polls this year in West Africa to learn from successful elections in the sub-region. Opening the 34th ordinary meeting of the ECOWAS Mediation and Security Council in Accra, Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration Minister said the precedent has already been set and member states only need to follow the peaceful and democratic steps of electing their governments.
2015 is a crucial year in the political life of 5 countries in the West African sub-region. Nigeria and Togo have already held their elections. Ivory Coast, Guinea and Burkina Faso are also preparing to go to the polls in October. With 3 more elections to go this year, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Hannah Tete, is encouraging the countries not to disappoint the sub-region and their respective citizens, but rather ensure the elections are peaceful. According to her, the spirit that governed previous elections should guard subsequent ones scheduled for later this year. She stressed the importance for citizens to choose their leaders in a manner that is free, fair, credible and transparent. Considering the past year has been challenging for especially member countries fighting terrorism, the minister called on Nigeria and Niger to double their efforts to quell insurgency in the sub-region. The Mediation and Security Council has been discussing amendments to the ECOWAS Protocol on democracy and good governance in an effort to promote peace and security in the sub-region.
Of our top stories, more than 48,000 teacher trainees across the country embark on an indefinite strike due to government's failure to restore trainee allowances. National Petroleum Authority attributes 9% increment in petroleum products to cedi depreciation and several other factors. The Electricity Company of Ghana restores power to Volta Star Textile Limited following the intervention of the Member of Parliament of the area. Well, that'll be it for the news this hour. My name is Kwabena Chencheni Boti. For more news, do well to log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good afternoon.